All right. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the last Scanco Lunch and Learn webinar of 2022. I'm Ross Allen. I'm one of the senior account managers here. And if you're new to Scanco, well, it's a pleasure to meet you. If you've been on other ones before, it's a pleasure to have you back. We do these monthly to basically give kind of small bite-sized chunks of what's new at Scanco or what's new in the industry. Or what offerings that we have with our partnership with Sage or some of our other partners. We've been doing these all throughout the year. We kind of started off with some of our advanced shipping applications with SPS Commerce and EDI. Then we branched over to our many different types of manufacturing, helping kind of debug manufacturing within Sage, whether you use production management or operations management, formerly job ops, or if you have tax needs with our partnership with Avalara and Avatax. So we kind of cover a whole gamut of things. And then sometimes we get more streamlined. Earlier in the year too, we discussed different lot tracking and traceability within the food and medical industry and how you can assist with that, or even payment automation and booking containers overseas. So Scanco in the 30,000 foot view, we have a whole host of options with our offerings for automation, either inside of Sage with our multi-bin products or with the manufacturing or distribution and all kinds of advanced or really easy to use functionality. So like I said, we run the whole spectrum. Today, we want to kind of hone in on what seems to be the bane of most people's existence. Of all the complex operations and customers that we've dealt with over the years and complex manufacturing and everything else, the one transaction that everyone just despises, detests. I could go on and on with all kinds of other words, but with that said, it is physical count. For most people, it's a once-a-year task. It's kind of like having to go see the dentist or the doctor. You kind of dread that annual checkup just because it's one of the things you kind of have to do. And unfortunately, people kind of make it more difficult than it really should be. It's one of those things that if you kind of upkeep it on a regular basis and truly automate it, it's super simple. So today we're going to actually show you how easy it is for physical counts. The prior webinar that we had just last month was making upgrades easy. We're going to make physical counts easy. The whole point of Scanco and our automation software and our real-time integration that we have to Sage is we try to make things much easier than they really, people I think overall make things a lot more difficult in a warehousing or manufacturing process, and we try to make things much easier to really help better everyone's lives and buy you back a little extra time of your day. So for those of you that are new to Scanco, we've been doing this for a little over 30 years now. We've been an OEM partner and ISV of Sage. We're the author of the barcode module. We've been doing this for quite some time. And Scanco, kind of a grand umbrella, we have three different buckets if you want to put us into. We have our WMS system, our warehouse management system, which is our multi-bin product that lives inside of Sage. So it enhances you to have more than one bin location, and then you can kind of take it from there from allocating goods or lot expiration tracking or tracking goods overseas or replenishing other warehouses or physical buildings or bin locations. We allow for that for more of an autonomous feel inside of Sage. And then we branch outside of Sage and think of our manufacturing, our warehouse automation as extensions of Sage. So Sage is the body, multi-bins inside of it. The arms and legs are the extensions that we touch for all the automation needs. So we've been doing this for quite some time now. We have a whole host of products that talk directly to Sage, whether you need barcode label printing or physical counts, or even leaving the four walls of a standard warehouse. You need to go into the world of sales or delivery. We handle that. So doing this a long time, it's always a pleasure to kind of meet new customers or bring on everyone. We don't have kind of one single bucket of customer we fill into. We kind of host anybody that makes microchips to potato chips and anything else between. We have those types of customers. It's always neat to. One of my favorite things that I do personally is getting to know all of our customers and all the different industries that we kind of fill into. That's really what's unique about the whole Sage family is that even though we're focusing on Sage 100 today, and that's really our meat of our industry is Sage 100 focus, we do focus also on 300, 500, and we're rolling into the world of Intact as well with our ops platform. So let's go ahead and kind of get started. So today we're going to, like I said, we're going to cover physical count. And it's one of those things that said that it's done sometimes annually. It should be done more often. We're going to talk about some of that. So we're going to talk about the benefits of automation and what really happens and why that's important. Then we're going to focus on kind of some of the features of our core product. We'll dive into a brief demo. And if we have time at the end, we'll do a little bit of Q&A. We like to keep these things short and sweet, under 30 minutes. It's meant for bite-sized chunks. Of course, we'd love to talk to you further and do a deeper dive in your process. So I'll have all my contact information at the end of this. Feel free to reach out, and we would love to speak with you. So when it comes to our product in general, you can see a screenshot of it here on the left-hand side. We do work on multiple different platforms, but our whole product is seamlessly integrated into Sage. That's one thing that I can say that really makes us unique and different, is that everything that is in Sage is real time with our product. Everything with our product is real time with Sage. There's no downloading, batching, uploading, no syncing, none of that. It is 100% real time with Sage. The benefit behind that is not only do you get instant gratification, right? But you also get the ability to, nothing's stored on devices, so we don't use any Sage data. We don't store any Sage licenses. It's all directly in there. So you're getting the true interface of our product, simplifying it with all the Sage modules, but you're getting that real-time integration. And that's all done through the barcode module within Sage. And, cost effective is a big thing, but cost kind of fill into several different buckets. Cost be related to, paying, employees overtime, the cost of saving your own time. I cannot tell you how many times that we deal with controllers or CFOs or CEOs or operations managers that are not only just running the warehouse operations day to day, but they're also running everything else within the warehouse. So any time that you can save 30 minutes to an hour out of your day to focus on something else is limitless of what you can do. Admin costs, the cost of manual entry or data entry, or costing mistakes, or even costing your customers. I know we're simply focusing on physical count today for the most part, but this goes with all of our products, whether it's order fulfillment or receipt of goods, or tracking orders overseas, or whatever that is. Our livelihood is, Scanco's livelihood is our customer base, right? Your customer base, your livelihood is your customer base. So the more we can, have ownership with our product and really have a loyalty with our customer base, really helps overall as well. And so also, the writing of inventory back into Sage, hardware implementations, all those things have a cost-effective saving solution. Scalable is probably one of the best ways to describe our products. Now, over time, if you're a new business to Sage, or obviously over the last 2 years with COVID and everything else, I think the majority of our customer base has grown by triple-fold. We have several customers that have been unique to live in the world of Sage and been in business for over a century. We have a couple customers that are in the food business that have had a family business that have been in business over 100 years, which is phenomenal in its own right. But the fact that they've had some of the best years and quarters in their entire existence in that 100 years is phenomenal. So, everything is growing. Your needs are always going to change. So know that our product is flexible enough to cover that. You heard me mention earlier that we have products that live within Sage and with outside of Sage. Today we're focusing on the physical count, but do know that once you go from there, you can grow on out. Whether you need to bring on a more advanced shipping functionality, or if you're new to the medical industry or food industry and you want to start tracking lot and expiration dates actually within Sage, not in some spreadsheet or Access database, we're flexible enough to work with that functionality. So do know that scalable is the biggest thing. You can start with just one functionality and grow from there. We've had many customers over the years that started off with just a multi-bin product or a warehouse product, or just sometimes label printing. And then a year or so later, they're running the full suite of everything on the distribution side, and even sometimes the manufacturing side. Easy, decrease, and increase. Let me kind of focus on that. So easy to use. So, anything in the world of distribution automation or manufacturing automation, sometimes is the processes themselves are difficult enough. So if we can save a little bit of time or energy, or speed things up to help you guys out a little bit, that's great. So how do most people communicate nowadays? The old days, pick up a phone, you might, write a letter. No one does that anymore. Everyone's on texting or Instagramming or, Twittering or, whatever else out there. So we try to develop our platform along the same field. So our application is an app, whether you're running on the desktop itself or from a smart device, tablet, phone, Zebra type scanner. It's easy to use. It's fill in the blank. So we don't want to overcomplicate the process today. So if you can text message or you can dial a phone, you can use our product. I don't care, how tech savvy you are or not. Our product is just that simple to use. So ease of use is a big thing. Let's kind of go into the decrease. So being able to scan a barcode overall in physical counts, we've had customers decrease their average count by 70 to 75%. That's huge. I saw a fun fact the other day. So within the kind of the Sage world, right? About 80% or so are still using manual data entry of some sort within inside of Sage or within inside their ERP system. 80%, that's huge. Imagine that if we can save a sixth of the time. Yes, it takes a sixth of the time to scan a barcode than it does to do anything else. So you're getting that instant gratification. And because we are seamlessly integrated in Sage, everything is 100% real time. So you're getting that true instant gratification. We live in the world today where you order a hamburger at one window, you pay for it, and in the next window in 30 seconds you have it. So, today's society, we want that instant gratification. We want to know where things are at in real time so we can focus on taking care of our customers and actually having faith back inside of Sage. That's the biggest thing I think that we deliver is, granting you the ability to actually have faith in your true ERP system and not rely on a paper-heavy process where you're taking triplicate forms or photos of products or even holding products up to a video camera on the way out so you can trace where it went. And so if we can cut that time down, even shave off a couple hours, we've had some customers we shaved down 3 days of time entry. Is huge. So not only are we so easy to use, we decrease the time, but we're increasing accuracy. So it kind of goes back to gaining control and back into yourself, right? I hear so many times that inventory is taking control of someone's life. Well, let's take back control of it. An inanimate object should not overrule your life, right? You should be able to have the control of your inventory, your processes, and everything else. So not only that, but we're eliminating issues and then increasing employee morale. That's probably another thing we hear quite often is I think it's unique and really cool that giving a scanner to someone on the floor that's been a warehouse employee for a number of years, that's been doing pen and paper, they take a whole new sense of ownership with the device itself, with the software, with what they're doing in Sage. It's almost like they slow things down a little bit. It's like time stops, and they're focused solely on the task at hand, and amazing what morale can do. And we'll get to a little bit on the demo side is gamification. That's another big thing in the industry too. So put a pin in that. We'll talk about gamification here in a little bit. And then eliminating costly errors. So whether it's mathematical errors, bad handwriting, I will raise my hand all day on that. I have the worst handwriting in the entire world. I barely can read on my own right sometimes. Just type in notes so quickly. But I grew up working in a warehouse where the bookkeeper account had to come back continuously and ask what someone in the warehouse wrote. What was this gibberish that they wrote? What is this hieroglyphics? Don't have to worry about that anymore. No more double entry, no more triple entry, no more triplicate, no more duplicate, quadruplicate, checking anything. It's real time in Sage. And we're also eliminating the headaches of figuring out, how long it took to count something, costly audits, or anything else. So some of the features. So you heard me mention that we do work on a variety of different applications. So iOS and Android are our big things. We are developers for both. So the iOS world, believe me, I love Apple products. They're great. It's easy to use. I'm not the biggest fan of them in the warehouse world because you have to get the phone or a tablet and get some sort of scanner attachment, which is all good and well, but I prefer more enterprise devices. So if you're new to the world of counting and you want to use a phone or a tablet, you can. The camera does not get used on the device. You actually need some sort of image or a barcode scanner to actually properly scan the barcodes. It's great if you're at Target or Walmart doing a onesie or twosie scan, but if you're doing thousands of SKUs, it gets a bit cumbersome, especially in a warehouse that's maybe not so well lit and the barcodes are not so great. So we prefer the imaging side. So Android is really our main focus. We partner up with Zebra. Zebra makes a whole line of different scanners. Now, when I came on board here at Scanco 11 years ago, just like with any hardware and just like with any technology, it was very expensive, the devices, right? Thousands and thousands of dollars. And this is Windows Mobile back then. This is a whole different game. Well, hardware significantly come down in price, just like with any technology. So Zebra was really smart and brought out a whole host of new types of scanners that look very much similar to an Android phone because they are Android phones. They run full Android. They run a bunch of different applications. So it's great if you have to run our app and maybe some other apps related to your business. They have full cameras on them, full imagers. They even have push-to-text walkie-talkie. So a lot of cool features with these devices. And a lot of them you can get for under $1,000, all in, fully loaded. And because you're barcode scanning, you're going to get accurate data collection. So, you can easily scan items, whether it's a combination barcode or a singular barcode, GS1s, quantity, lots, expiration dates, we collect it all. And it's super simple to read. You're getting an accurate, fast data time. Kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, it takes a sixth of the time to scan a barcode. It's super simple. So accuracy is big when it comes to that. Let's talk about freeze files. So if you kind of follow the normal Sage process, you'd go into Sage and freeze all your inventory and run your variance register and your negative tier reports and post all your sales orders and all that. And you can go freeze your items. With our multi-bin software, it enhances it because you can actually locate a certain region or bin location and freeze that, and then go out and count. And we'll validate against that count all day long. If it's not in that freeze file, we won't let you count it. But we also give you on the flip side the flexibility to freeze on the fly and do true cycle and bin counting, which we'll get to in just a few moments. That brings my next point is we work with or without Scanco multi-bin. So the world of multi-bin, if you're new to that terminology, standard Sage allows you to have one named bin location through the reorder point in Sage to one item and one single warehouse. That's okay. I mean, I have a lot of customers that have a smaller footprint. That works great for them. But if you're in a 100,000, 20,000, 30,000 square foot warehouse, I have some that have customers that have 5 locations, 500,000 square feet total with 100,000 bin locations all throughout the U.S. This is where this comes into play. Not only can you have min and max levels of bin locations and controlled by volume and replenishment, but you can have a bin location for every type of item. Over bins, overflow areas. You can have smaller bins on primary pick areas. You can have a whole host of things. And what multi-bin does is it allows you to have a more finite control over where your items are at in certain locations and then go count by bins. So if you have a faster moving product on the lower level, you can count that on a more routine basis than you might some of your slower moving product that's in the back of the warehouse or on an upper tier of a rack. But we work with both. And then we also this goes back to the gamification I was telling you about earlier. So because you're logged into a device, you're assigned a user ID and a password. This is unique to you. We license a device. We do not license a person. So you can have unlimited number of user IDs tied to specific personnel and specific needs. And if you're familiar with Sage, in Sage you have role maintenance where you can actually give a unique unique set of modules that your user can use, or whatever else you'd like within role maintenance. We do the same thing with Scanco. We have our own role maintenance, our own portal. It controls our users, has nothing to do with Sage, but it's a great way to find out who's doing what, where, when, why, and how. Why? Because we have a whole dashboard system that lives outside of Sage on any desktop PC. You can watch in real time everything that's happening on the scanner. In Sage, you can see physical counts, you can see open orders, purchase orders, you can see all that, but you can never see the who, what, where, when, why, and how. We allow for that. So without further ado, I think we'll go ahead and get onto the demo portion of it. So give me a second. We'll go ahead and bring up Sage. Now, you heard me mention earlier that we are real-time with Sage. We are, in fact. So one of the nice things about Sage and about our software is we're talking real-time. So what happens is if something happens to your scanner, drops, breaks, busts, battery goes out, something like that, you can pick up literally another device and pick up right where you left off. Why? Because nothing is stored on the device. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up now. I did mention iOS earlier. I do like iOS for doing demonstrations because it's easy to screen share. But as you mentioned earlier, I prefer the Android Zebra devices, but this works just as well. So we're an app. As you can see, we have a whole host of other apps on this device. I have my sales, my manufacturing. We're going to go ahead and open our warehouse application. I'm already logged in as my user ID. This is the Sage company I'm in. Our software does work multi-company and multi-warehouse. We have a whole host of other applications turned on. This is my demo system. So I have everything from receiving to transfers to shipping, picking, order fulfillment, everything else in between. But the unique thing is because we're focusing on singular and physical count, one, we put it smack dab in the middle of the screen so it's easy to find. All of our applications are super simple to use. You click on it, what it says, it does. Receiving is receiving, transfers is transfers, counts is count. On the count side, when I go ahead and click on it, we give you 3 flavors to count from. If you do have our multi-bin, you'll get count by bin. Otherwise, you'll have the standard count by item. And for my old school guys out there, count by card. Card count still does exist in Sage today. We built this into a standard of our product many years ago for a lot of our customer base. We're still using card counts within Sage. If you do it, great. If not, you don't need to turn it on. You notice that any one of these applications I can turn on or off based on my user ID and profile that I preset. So in my preference is I will have a separate profile just for physical count. And then I will assign that to the users when it is time to count. So all they're doing is counting, and that is it. We do work through the mobility for barcode module. So even though we're writing everything in the Sage, the barcode module, which is right here, is what pushes everything back into Sage and puts it into the right location. In this case, it is a physical count. So it'll go into physical count entry. Otherwise, if I'm doing a receipt of goods, it'll go into receipt of goods entry, shipping data entry, etc. Everything we're doing is writing back to Sage. The import pushes it through into the appropriate location. So one of the nice things is about the mobility for barcode module. If you do own it or do get as one of the complete bundles from Sage for any supported version on up, so 2020 on up, you get access to 5 free mobility count licenses from Scanco. It's a different application altogether from our full warehouse suite. It's called the mobility for barcode. It's 5 count licenses, and you can use those at any given time. I do recommend, if you are going to go that route, to go invest in an actual scanner so you can scan barcodes. But if you're new to everything, you can still use your own phone and just manually type in everything. You're just not getting the gratification of scanning a barcode. So when it comes time to physical count, go ahead and bring back up our application. Everything that we're doing is, again, talking to real time in Sage. So we'll go ahead and focus on count by bin. Why do I like this methodology? Because I can focus on a singular bin, and this is true cycle counting. So once I'm defaulted to my warehouse and I'm going to count, I'm going to select my warehouse, and then I'm going to go ahead and choose my starting bin location. So we'll go ahead and start off with 100A. And now I'm going to be focusing on all the bins or the items that are in specifically that bin. Now, one of the nice things is we can really lock the users down to even turning off lookups or anything else. So they're just focused on collecting whatever's in that bin. They shouldn't even know what's in there. All they need to know is just go count it. So we'll go ahead and start scanning our items. And as I'm entering things in, it's going to validate that item. When we do scan an item, we're validating 3 things in Sage. We're validating the IM table, the inventory management tables. That item does exist. We're also validating the aliases that are tied to it. If I scan my vendor alias, it will tie to my own phone or my own part number if it's tied together. And lastly, we're validating the freeze table. So if you do pre-freeze your inventory ahead of time, we'll go ahead and validate that against that. Otherwise, if you're freezing on the fly, that's all you need to worry about. We'll go ahead and enter my quantity, hit done. It's going to immediately return me to my item prompt, staying focused on this bin location. Under the little sub-menu here, I have a couple of other options. Pallets, you'll see this little pallet icon. So we do have a functionality called license plating with our multi-bin. What license plating does is think of a VIN number or a license plate for a car. Well, we'll focus on VIN number. VIN number is going to tell you everything that's on that car, make, model, what type of engine it is, the color, everything. Same thing with our own license plating. If you choose to give a specific unique barcode identifier to a pallet in the warehouse, it's going to tell you everything that's on that pallet. Especially if I'm in the industry where I have to track a lot of the lot numbers and expiration dates, and maybe I have a mixed pallet, it's much easier to scan one barcode and collect everything on it, as opposed to scanning each individual box and collecting each individual lot and quantity. We do give you a review option as well, so you can review what you counted before you send it back through into physical count entry in Sage. And lastly, if I'm going in sequence of bin locations, I can simply click on the next bin icon, and it goes to 100B. If I do that again, it's going to go to 100C and so forth. As I'm counting, I told you about gamification earlier. So within our software, we have a separate application called our Scanco dashboard. It's a desktop application. It's not licensed, so once you own it, you own it. You can have it on any computer or PC you like. Windows PC, I should say. So a couple of unique things about this is if you are apprehensive about giving access to all your employees in Sage, but you want them to still see Sage data, this is a perfect utility because I can have this on any desktop. There's no editing here. This is simply a viewing utility. I can go in and see all my quantity on hand in Sage. I can filter down to specific bin locations or warehouse codes or item codes. I can see all my open sales orders in Sage. I can see all my open purchase orders in Sage. I can see what's shipping on the handheld, or in this case, physical count. So as you can see, there's my user ID. I just scanned an item. It date and timestamps everything when I counted it. We'll go ahead and bring up another item. We'll go ahead and scan that item. We'll go ahead and enter a quantity of 5. And then we'll hit refresh real quick. And then you'll see that there's the user ID that I was in. There's the item I scanned, description, date and time. Everything is date and time stamped. And if I ever want to go see from a historical perspective what was done, I can simply go to the history file, which pulls it out of Sage, and it's going to give me all the history of what happened in the past. So again, this is the who, what, where, when, why, and how. You mentioned I was talking about gamification earlier. Gamification is a new term in the warehouse world, but it's just key performance indicators, KPIs, or a lot of companies bonus or pay on performance of pickers. So if I'm getting the full distribution, we're actually going to start tracking how long it took someone to pick an order, fulfill an order, ship an order. I can start tracking those down, have metrics built upon it, and start bonusing and rewarding my customer, my employees accordingly. Once I'm done, it's going to go into Sage. And then from there, everything's returned into physical count entry inside of Sage. And we are writing here to real time. So as I'm freezing my items, it's freezing what I scanned, the bin locations that I scanned, and it's reflecting the quantity on hand at that time of freeze. So as I'm counting it, it's showing my item, my quantity on hand, and what was counted as well. If I ever have to go back and make an adjustment to what was counted, I simply can just zero it out, save it, and then go back out and count again. If you don't zero it out, because we are real time, we're adding to whatever was in the counted column. Another nice benefit is if you have multiple people counting the same item in the same location, they're kind of buddying up. Each person is going to count X amount. So if I count 5, my partner counts 5, we each on our own have counted 5. We both send it through back into physical count entry. The import adds it together. 5 plus 5 is 10. So it's a great way to have multiple people counting all at once, and you're still tracking who did it via the dashboard system. Also built into our platform, we mentioned earlier, I'll touch on this briefly because we're coming up against our time, is label printing. Barcode scanning only works as well as the barcodes you have. Now, if you have barcode sheets or things that you printed out of a Crystal report, you can do that, but it's much better to barcode your bin locations, your items, locations. If you don't have everything, you can put it on a sheet, but it's much easier to have the locations built. We have our own labeling software that talks, again, directly to Sage. This is our label printing software that allows me to print item labels, bin labels, right out of stock Sage. One of the biggest benefits of this is I'm not having to rely on a separate label design software that I have to license per device. This is just a one-time purchase, and it's multiple licenses, as many as you'd like, on as many different PCs. But I'm also pulling real-time Sage data as opposed to pulling out of a database or a spreadsheet, and I have the full ability to design my own labels on the fly as I'm designing them. So we've kind of covered the whole gamut. I think we have time for 2 questions, so I'll pop through real quick. So the first one is, you mentioned the mobility for barcode module. How do you get it? Great question. So contact your Sage reseller, reach out to us if you'd like. As long as you have the mobility for barcode module, part of your bundle that's activated, you own it, you have access to those licenses. So again, reach out to your Sage partner, reseller, they'll get in contact with us and we can get you rolling. It is a separate application altogether. So if it's a great way to get your feet wet with scanning before you go into the next phases, let us know. We'd be happy to help you. And okay, great other question is, so how quickly can I start barcoding and scanning? So implementations, I will tell you, it depends on how in-depth you want to get. Typically, overall implementations run on about a 6 to 8 week timeline. For more simple, bare bones, get up and running with scanning with a couple transactions. If you want more complex stuff, we have a whole professional services team that'll help kind of get you to that next phase. That's another important thing too, is, please rely on your partner or reseller, but we also have a team of Sage certified consultants with Scanco that'll help you kind of put together a current state, future state process to take you to that next level. Again, I want to thank you for attending today. I want to wish you Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, and we look forward to speaking with you in 2023 with a lot of our new stuff that's going to be coming out.